Detective Aria Vale had seen hundreds of crime scenes, but none like this. The call came at 3:12 a.m., a single distress report from an abandoned home on Hollow Street, a place no one had lived in for years. When she arrived, the front door was already open. Inside, the lights flickered weakly, powered by a generator that shouldn't have worked. And on the living room floor was a message written in black ink. "I didn't kill her. I just brought her back." Aria's partner, Detective Mason Core, looked around, flashlights sweeping over the peeling wallpaper. Who's her supposed to be? Before Aria could answer, they heard a faint tap, tap, tap upstairs. It sounded rhythmic, deliberate. They followed the noise to the second floor, where an old reel-to-reel tape recorder was spinning. The tape hissed, then a distorted voice played through the speakers. Day 27. The body moved again. She smiled this time. Mason's eyes widened. "This is a confession tape." Aria nodded, heart pounding. But whose? In the corner of the room, an ancient camera sat on a tripod, the kind used for crime documentation decades ago. She pressed the playback button. The screen flickered to life, showing a man hunched over a table, scribbling in a journal. The same man who'd been declared missing 15 years ago, Dr. Elias Rowe, a forensic pathologist who vanished after a series of bizarre body thefts. On screen, he whispered, "I'm so close. She'll wake soon. I can feel it." Then he looked directly into the camera, like he knew someone would watch it later. "If you're hearing this, don't stay past 3:33 a.m. The power flickered. The lights dimmed. Aria looked at her watch. 3:29. "Let's get out of here," Mason said, backing toward the stairs. But then the tape recorder started again by itself. Day 28. The detective is here. She's perfect. Aria froze. What? Perfect eyes. Perfect pulse. I'll fix her next. The sound of heavy footsteps echoed from the hallway. Mason spun around, gun raised. "Who's there?" he shouted. No response, just that steady tap. Tap, tap. Tap, tap. Then a faint whisper. Behind you, they turned. The tape recorder was gone. The camera was still running, but now it showed them, live from a different angle. Aria stepped closer to the lens. Her reflection looked wrong, pale. Her double on the screen blinked half a second late. The time on her watch struck 3:33. The screen went black. And in the darkness, the voice returned right behind her ear. "Welcome home, detective." Aria didn't remember leaving the house. 1 second, she'd heard the whisper. The next, she was standing outside, breathing hard, flashlight still in hand. The generator had gone silent. Mason was beside her, pale, sweating. What the hell just happened in there? Aria shook her head. "I don't know, but it recorded us before we got there." "That's not possible." They called in a forensic team at dawn. The house looked ordinary again. No tape recorder, no message, no flickering lights. Even the writing on the floor was gone. The only thing left was an old Polaroid camera sitting on the windowsill. Inside, a single undeveloped photo. When Aria developed it at the station, her hands went cold. The photo showed the living room, but she and Mason were in it, standing exactly where they had been hours earlier. The time stomp. 3:33 a.m. Someone's playing games with us, Mason muttered, slamming a file shut. But Aria couldn't shake the feeling that the house was in just watching it was choosing. 2 days later, she dug up the old case files on Dr. Elias Rowe. Once a respected forensic pathologist, he'd lost his wife in a hit-and-run that was never solved. After her death, he became obsessed with reanimation research. He vanished after reports of stolen corpses, and the same house on Hollow Street had been his last known address. Rowe's journals were fragmented, but one line stood out. Death leaves a recording. The trick is learning how to play it. Aria leaned back in her chair. What if the tapes aren't recordings? What if they're echoes? Mason frowned. You mean like she nodded? Residual energy. The same actions repeating like the house remembers them. He snorted. You're telling me the walls have memory now? Aria didn't answer. She was staring at the Polaroid. The photo was changing. Slowly, faintly, a figure appeared in the background, standing behind them. A tall man in a lab coat, head tilted, eyes hollow. Dr. Rowe. That night, Aria returned to Hollow Street alone. She told herself it was to search for physical evidence. But deep down, she knew it was curiosity, the same kind that had killed too many detectives before her. The air inside felt heavier, colder, like the house had been waiting. Her flashlight flickered, then steadied. She followed the same steps upstairs into the room where the tape recorder had been. Only now, there was a journal sitting on the table. The first page was dated 15 years ago. The last was written this week. Subject 3. Detective Aria Vale. Memory imprints successful. Pattern complete. She froze. A sound interrupted her. A slow creak from behind. She turned. The camera was back on the tripod, its red light blinking. On the screen, her own face, but this time, the reflection smiled. Who are you? She whispered. The reflection mouthed the same words, but a second later. Then, with a cold grin, it spoke aloud. You should have stayed out of my house. The flashlight went out. For a few seconds, there was silence. Then the camera clicked once, twice, taking photos in the dark. When the forensics team entered the next morning, the house was empty. No signs of a struggle, no trace of Aria Vale. Only a fresh Polaroid sitting on the table, her smiling face, and Dr. Rowe's shadow right behind her. Detective Mason Hale hadn't slept in 3 days. Aria was gone. No trace, no prints, not even a sign of forced entry. It was as if the house had simply swallowed her whole. But Mason wasn't ready to give up. He played the recovered Polaroids again and again, zooming in on Aria's faint smile, the blurred shadow behind her. Every time he looked closer, the image seemed to change, the shadow moving slightly, like it was alive. He drove back to Hollow Street at dusk, ignoring every instinct, screaming, "Don't go back." The sun dipped below the tree line as he parked in front of the house. The porch light flickered once, and then turned on by itself. "All right, Vale," he muttered. "If you're in there, I'm bringing you home." Inside, everything was untouched. The dust, the silence, the faint hum in the air. It all felt staged, like a set waiting for its next act. He followed the hallway to the study, where the journal had been found. It was gone. But something else was there now, a cassette recorder, still warm. He pressed play. A distorted voice filled the air. Arias. "If you're hearing this, Mason, don't stay. He's not dead. He's the tape cut to static." Then another voice emerged, calm, male, deliberate. Curiosity always makes the best subjects. Mason froze. Dr. Rowe. He tore open the walls, the floorboards, the furniture, anything that could hide evidence. In a drawer, he found a stack of old negatives. When held to the light, they showed faces, dozens of them blurred and screaming. Aria's was the last one. Mason stumbled back. Jesus Christ. He ran outside for air, but the front door slammed shut behind him. The house groaned, floorboards stretching like ribs expanding. The lights buzzed back to life, one room at a time. Through the cracked windows, he saw movement, faint silhouettes walking across the rooms. Men, women, all transparent, all repeating the same motions. And in the center of it all stood Aria. Her eyes were open, but wrong, glassy, distant, as if she was there and not there at the same time. She turned toward him slowly, and for a heartbeat, he saw recognition. "Aria!" Mason yelled. She opened her mouth to speak, but only one word escaped, whispered like wind through a graveyard. "Run!" The lights exploded. When Mason came to, he was in the basement. Chains hung from the ceiling. Rusted surgical tools glinted in the dark. On the far wall, more Polaroids, hundreds of them, all pinned in perfect order. Each one showed someone standing in this same basement moments before disappearing. The last few were dated this week. In the final photo, Mason saw himself unconscious, lying exactly where he was now. The timestamp, 3:33 a.m., he stumbled backward, heart racing. No, no, no. A voice echoed from the shadows. You shouldn't have come alone. Dr. Elias Rose stepped forward, or something that looked like him. His skin was pale, almost translucent. The outlines of veins shimmered faintly, like he wasn't fully there. Mason raised his gun. Where's Aria? Rose smiled faintly. She's here. All of them are. I made them remember. What did you do? I freed them from time. Their echoes live forever. Ro reached out, touching a Polaroid. The photo shifted. Aria's face moved, blinking. She's not gone, he said softly. Neither are you. Before Mason could fire, the lights went out again. In total darkness, the flash of a camera lit up the room once, twice, 3 times. When the light faded, only the Polaroids remained. A new one hung on the wall, still wet from development. Mason's face, eyes wide open, smiling. When Detective Aria Vale opened her eyes, everything was silent. The last thing she remembered was Mason shouting her name. Then the world had blinked out. Now she stood in the living room again, only wrong. The furniture was the same, but dust floated backward through the air, like time itself had reversed. The clock on the wall ticked backward, the second hand jerking in uneven bursts. Mason? She whispered. Her voice echoed, but not like normal sound. It came back to her distorted, like she was hearing herself from another room. Then she noticed the photographs on the wall, hundreds of them. Each one captured people standing in the same hallway, eyes empty, faces pale. The last one was Mason, still alive in the photo, staring directly at her. Aria's breath caught. No. The house groaned, wood splintering as if the walls were breathing. She felt it then, a pull, something invisible tugging her toward the basement. She followed the pull, step by step, the sound of her boots echoing far louder than they should. At the bottom of the stairs, a faint light glowed. The projector was running, showing footage on the cracked cement wall. It was Dr. Elias Rowe. His voice came through the speakers, calm, scientific. When a person dies violently, a part of them remains trapped in the echo of that moment. I found a way to capture it, to give the echo form. He turned, smiling faintly into the camera. They call it death. I call it recording. The film flickered, showing Aria's face, asleep in a hospital bed. Mason sitting beside her. Then the screen split in two, showing both of them walking into Hollow Street, moments before the night they vanished. Aria stumbled back. This already happened. It's still happening. A voice whispered behind her as she spun around, and there he was. Dr. Rowe, or what was left of him. His outline shimmered, unstable, like he was made of static. His eyes flickered with faint light like dying camera bulbs. You shouldn't have come back, he said gently. The house remembers everyone who does. What did you do to Mason? He smiled. He's preserved, like you. I'm not dead. Aria shouted. Rowe tilted his head. Aren't you? When was the last time you breathed? She froze, realizing the air didn't fog in front of her mouth. Her chest didn't rise. Her heart didn't beat. Rowe gestured to the projector. The footage changed again, showing Mason in the basement, flashlight shaking, eyes wide. Then the screen cut to black, replaced by the sound of a camera flash. When the image returned, Mason was gone. Only his Polaroid hung on the wall. He's part of the echo now, Rowe said softly. And you will be too. That's how we live forever. Aria's voice hardened. You think this is immortality? It's torture. Rowe's smile faltered. Perhaps. but at least it's memory. The lights began to flicker wildly, the air vibrating with energy. The house groaned like it was coming apart. Aria reached into her pocket. Her badge? She threw it at the projector. The bulb shattered, sparks flying. Instantly, the world fractured, hundreds of overlapping images filling the room. Faces, screams, camera flashes. The echo world collapsing. Rose's voice shouted through the static. "You can't destroy memory." Aria gritted her teeth. "Then I'll erase it." She grabbed the nearest Polaroid Masons and ripped it in half. The house screamed. Every photo on the walls ignited with blinding white light. The echoes began to fade. One by one, their whispers turning into sighs of release. When the light dimmed, Aria stood alone in the basement. No row, no whispers, just silence. Outside, dawn broke over Hollow Street for the first time in years. A week later, the property was demolished. Nothing remained except the foundation and one scorched Polaroid found in the rubble, half of Aria's face, smiling faintly. Beneath it, written in black ink, "Some echoes never fade."